is the way to achieve true and everlasting happiness?
It is not possible for happiness to exist in each of us while the elements of unhappiness exist in our interior. The essence, bottled up in all the egos, processes itself by virtue of its own bottling. After destroying all the egos, the living personification of our errors, it is then marvelously possible to achieve full happiness.
But how is it possible that we have so many egos inside of us?
To believe that we are one is certainly a very bad joke. Each of us has to directly discover all these I's that live in our interior. Each I, each aggregate, has its own individual criteria. It has its ideas, concepts, and desires. What is our inner house like? It is like a dreadful mansion where there are many servants, and each one would feel himself to be the Lord. One says, "I am going to eat. I am hungry." Afterwards enters another one in conflict and says, "Go to the devil with the food. I am going to read the newspaper." A third, in conflict, appears over there and in an indisputable manner says, "Neither food nor reading. I am going to the house of my friend, Mr. So-and-so." After saying those words, the human personality, moved by this inner influence, thus leaves the house in order to go out. We are all full of frightful contradictions, and this is dreadful, because we do not truly have a real existence, real freedom, and this is very regrettable.
Then what is the way to truly be free?
A man is what his life is. If a man does not work on his own life, he is wasting time miserably. Unquestionably, our own life is made of comedies, dramas, and tragedies. Is it possible by chance that a comedy, drama, or tragedy could exist without its actors? Therefore, if we want to change our own life, what should we do? There is no other remedy than dissolving the actors of comedies, dramas, and tragedies. And who are those actors? I tell you truly that each one of these actors comes from ancient times, many yesterdays. Each I is a book of many volumes. The I's are our own defects, our own errors contained at the very bottom of our psyche. When one knows the exact didactics for the dissolution of those undesirable elements that we carry within, one achieves unusual progress.
So can you please tell us the didactics to dissolve the egos or the I's?
The best didactics for the dissolution of the I is found in practical life lived intensely. In the relations with our fellow beings, the defects, hidden deep down in the subconscious, arise spontaneously. They come out because the subconscious betrays us. And if we are in a state of alert perception, then we see them as they are in themselves.
What should we do after we discover a defect?
Observation, judgment, and execution are the three basic steps for dissolution. First, we observe. Second, we judge. Third, we execute. During war, first the spies are observed, then they are judged, and finally, they are shot to death.
But how do we observe the egos in the first place?
Any incident in life, as insignificant it might seem to be, undoubtedly has an intimate actor in us, an I. In our relations with other people, if we are alert and vigilant like the watchman in times of war, we self-discover ourselves. We need to observe the I that in a given moment we have discovered. It is urgent to see it in each of the three centers of our organism. Remember, at what time did they hurt your vanity, your pride? What was it that most annoyed you today? Why? What was its secret cause? An I discovered red-handed has to be carefully observed in our brain, heart, and sex. Any I of lust could manifest in the heart as love, in the brain as an ideal, but on paying attention to the sex, we would feel certain unmistakable morbid excitement. Practical life is a marvelous school. Any annoyance, any incident can lead us by means of intimate self-observation to the discovery of an I, be it of self-love, envy, jealousy, anger, greed, suspicion, slander, lust, etc., etc., etc.
But we have not used the sense of self-observation before. How can we use it now?
In the beginning, the student does not know from where to start. In such a situation, taking advantage of the most critical moments, the unpleasant situations, if we are alert, we will discover our prominent defects. Sometimes we can start with anger, or with self-love, or with the unfortunate moment of lust, etc., etc. By working seriously, the sense of self-observation will develop by means of its continuous use. And gradually, we will be able to perceive in a direct way those eyes about which we never had any previous data related to their existence. It is necessary to take note of all our psychological states daily. Before we lie down, it is convenient for us to examine the facts that happened during the day. We might have hurt someone with a laughter. We might have made someone sick with a smile, or with a glance out of place.
But what is wrong with a smile? It's considered a virtue, just like charity. Also, we have learned that some egos or eyes are useful in practical life. Is that not true?
With virtues, we can hurt the others. What would you say about a priest that is preaching the Lord's word inside a brothel? What would you say about a meek and tolerant man blessing a band of thieves which tried to rape his wife and his daughters? What would you say about this type of tolerance taken in excess? What would you think about the charitable attitude of a man who, instead of bringing food to his home, shared his money among the beggars of vice? What would be your opinion about a helpful man that in a given moment lent a knife to a murderer? Remember, dear friends, that there is much virtue in the wicked ones and much evil in the virtuous one. Crime can disguise as a saint, use the best virtues, present itself as a martyr, and even officiate in the sacred temples. The good eyes try to do good works, but they do not know how to do good works. What is it that we call good? Good is everything that is in its place. Evil is that which is out of place. For example, fire is good there, where it is, isn't it? But what do you think if it started burning these curtains or roasting you alive? Therefore, good is what is in its place. Evil is what is not in its place. A virtue, however great it might be, if it is out of place, it becomes evil. Therefore, the important thing in life is to dissolve both good and evil eyes. This is what matters.
So working like this, we should be able to dissolve all our eyes?
The more the sense of self-observation develops in us through its continuous use, the more we will see all those eyes within which our consciousness is bottled up. The most grave error of all is that everyone believes himself to be beautiful, just, good person, and even complains about the ungratefulness of his fellow beings, says that they do not understand him, etc., etc. Have you ever thought about what pleases or displeases you the most? Have you reflected on the secret springs of your actions? Why do you want to have a beautiful house? Why do you want to have the latest model of a car? Why do you always want to be in the latest fashion? Why are you greedy for not being greedy? What was it that most offended you in a given moment? What was it that most upset you yesterday? Why do you feel superior to Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so in a given moment? Why do you feel proud while telling your triumphs? Could you not keep silence when they were backbiting a known person? Did you receive the cup of liquor out of courtesy? Did you accept smoking? Perhaps not having the vice, possibly due to the concept of education or of honor? Are you sure you were sincere in that talk? And when you told your triumphs, have you understood that you were full of vanity? The sense of intimate self-observation, besides enabling you to clearly see the I which you are dissolving, will also allow you to see the clear and definite results of your inner work.
And what results should we notice to be sure that we are moving in the right direction?
In the beginning, these psychic aberrations that unfortunately characterize you are more monstrous than the most horrible beast that exists on earth. As you advance in your work, you will be able to prove by means of the sense of inner self-observation that those abominations lose volume. Such beasts, they become smaller, more beautiful, and slowly assume a child's figure. And in the end, they disintegrate and become cosmic dust. Then the bottled essence gets free, emancipated, awakened. The worst circumstances of life, the most critical situations, are always marvelous for the intimate self-discovery. In such moments, one has the marked tendency to easily identify with the events and to forget oneself completely. In these moments, one does stupidities that lead to nowhere. If one was alert, instead of losing one's head, if one remembered oneself, one would discover in amazement certain eyes of which one never had the least idea of their possible existence. The psychological gymnasium is therefore indispensable. Fortunately, we have it, and it is life itself. The path of home, with its infinite details, many times painful, is the best room of the gymnasium. The fertile and creative work by means of which we gain the daily bread is another marvelous room. Unfortunately, people want to flee from adverse situations. Instead of giving thanks, they protest against such brilliant opportunities. Many aspirants to the superior life desperately wish to retire from the place where they work, to withdraw from the streets of their city, to take refuge in the woods with the purpose of seeking the final liberation. Those poor people are similar to those silly boys who flee from school, who do not attend the classes, who seek escapism. It is in practical life where we can discover ourselves. Therefore, do not try to escape from real life. You should be more practical if you truly want to disintegrate the ego.
Having discovered our defects, what is the next step?
Meditation is fundamental when we sincerely want a radical, total, and definitive change. Whoever does not know how to meditate will never be able to dissolve the ego, and he will always be an impotent log among the furious sea of life. A defect discovered in the field of practical life has to be comprehended deeply by means of the technique of meditation. Any unpleasant circumstance has to be reconstructed by means of conscious imagination during meditation. The reconstruction of any scene allows us to verify by ourselves, and in a direct way, the intervention of several eyes participating in it. While trying to comprehend any defect, we should recognize our own errors without evasions of any type, without justifications and without excuses. The marked tendency to blame the others is an obstacle for the comprehension of our own errors. To judge the others is absurd because every human creature, as long as he has not dissolved the pluralized I, is more or less the same. The ego is really a book of many volumes. Any error is multifaceted and is fatally processed in the 49 levels of the subconscious. Therefore, any discovered psychological defect has to be integrally comprehended in the different nooks of the mind. Deep Comprehension would not be possible without the practice of meditation. Comprehension is very elastic. That is why we need to go each time deeper. What we have comprehended today in such manner, tomorrow we will comprehend it better.
In a single meditation, should we comprehend all that we remember in relation to the I, for example, of anger?
So this is what one has to do, to live alert and vigilant, like the watchman in times of war. Where was the anger? In which moment? Can you recall the situation? Can you visualize the moment in which you felt anger? Then you will work on it in meditation. It is from concrete, clear, and definite facts that we shall start.
And having understood each defect in such a manner, what should we do next?
Advancing in this field of comprehension, with the firm purpose of eliminating the ego, the myself, you will have to pass through great emotional crisis. If the water does not boil at 100 degrees, what has to be disintegrated does not disintegrate, and what has to be crystallized does not crystallize. The disintegration of any psychic aggregate is only possible on the basis of conscious works and voluntary sufferings. Obviously, if we do not pass through great emotional crisis, we cannot attain the crystallization of the soul. When I relived precisely the I of self-love, which was quite hidden among the deepest nooks of my psyche, I felt great pain. I had to pass through great emotional crisis. I suffered a lot, yes, very much. And then I truly repented. Then I understood that Devi Kundalini Shakti had pulverized such an undesirable element.
Thank you very much. What can you tell us about the third step, for the dissolution of ego?
It would not be possible to execute any I if we had not previously observed and judged it. The mind can give itself the luxury of labeling a defect with one name or another, but it cannot dissolve any psychological defect by itself. We urgently need a flaming power superior to the mind. Fortunately, there is in us this marvelous fire, which the old alchemist of the Middle Ages baptized with the mysterious name of Stella Maris, the Virgin of the Sea. All ancient people worshipped this God Mother, symbolized by the sacred serpent of the great mysteries. If we have a father and a mother in the merely physical world, at the bottom of our being, we also have our Father, who is in secret, and our Divine Mother, Kundalini. There are many fathers in heaven, as men on earth. God Mother in our own intimacy is the feminine aspect of our Father, who is in secret. The feminine principle of the eternal is also called Isis, Mary, Tonatzin, Cybele, Rhea, Adonia, Insoberta, etc., etc., etc. Each one of us has our own particular Divine Mother. God Mother is an electric power, unknown to the whole humanity. She is the only one who has the effective power to disintegrate the aberrations that we carry in our psychological interior. Stella Maris is the astral signature of the human sexual potency. Stella Maris is this philosophical fire that is found latent in all organic and inorganic matter. Psychological impulses can provoke the intensive action of such fire, and then the decapitation of the I becomes possible. Some eyes are decapitated in the beginning of the psychological work, others in the middle, and the last ones in the end. Stella Maris has full consciousness of the work to be done, and does the decapitation at the right moment. If we exclude the Divine Mother Kundalini, the work becomes incomplete, and it would be impossible to eliminate any defects. We should resort to God Mother in our intimacy. If we truly want to disintegrate eyes, whoever does not love his mother, the ungrateful son will fail in the work upon himself. Prayer is fundamental in the psychological work for the disillusion. To pray is to talk to God. It is not necessary to have a specific formula for praying to our inner divine mother. We should be very natural and simple while talking to her. When a child talks to his mother, he never has special formulas. He says what comes from his heart, and that is all. Having observed and integrally comprehended any eye defect, we should plunge into deep meditation, pleading, praying, asking to our individual divine mother to disintegrate the eye defect which was previously comprehended.
Many defects manifest in us during the day. Let's say that in the morning, Les got an opportunity. Afterwards, pride popped up. I go to the street and, while entering the car, anger bursts out. How can we work on all these?
In the evening, with your body relaxed, you will start doing a retrospective exercise on that day. Then, you will start visualizing, recalling the events of the day. Having recalled, numbered, classified them properly, you will do the work. First, an event to which you can dedicate half an hour. Then another, to which you can dedicate 5 minutes. Then another, to which you can dedicate 10 minutes. It all depends on the gravity of the events. Therefore, after putting them in order, you can work on them in the evening. Rarely a defect appears alone. It is always associated with another. So we have to work on them orderly and daily until triumphing.
Working in this manner, will all the individual eyes be dissolved completely?
Not a single eye is dissolved instantaneously. Our Divine Mother has to work and even to suffer very much before obtaining the annihilation of any eye. Turn yourself introspective, seeking inside yourself the Divine Mother. Ask her to disintegrate that eye which you have previously observed and judged. The sense of intimate self-observation will help you see the progressive advance of the work related to the eye you are working on. Good intentions are useless and lead nowhere. It is useless to repeat daily, "I won't be angry anymore." The eyes of anger will continue existing at our psychological bottom. It is useless to set us apart from the world and go into seclusion, in a convent, or to live in a cave. The eyes within us will continue existing. Even when we believe ourselves to be honorable persons, keeping our words sincere, courteous, charitable, etc. As long as we have not dissolved the psychic aggregates, we will continue to have inside of us theft, envy, manifested or secret adultery, ambition to get money or psychic powers, etc. If we do not truly pass through the decapitation of the ego, we are deceiving ourselves. We are defending our own rottenness. We are acting hypocritically. In revolutionary psychology, it becomes clear to us the need for a radical transformation. And this is only possible by declaring a war to the bitter end, merciless and cruel on ourselves. Any attempt at liberation, however great it might be, if it does not consider the need to dissolve the ego, is doomed to fail.